founder of Kingdom Elegance magazine. We are so blessed by the value that our regular contributor, Kelly, brings to the platform. And Kelly is founder of Soul Strength Fit. And the title of our topic for today is How to Lose 15 Pounds in 60 Days Over 40. Now, Kelly brings a special guest today, Angela, a client with a powerful, powerful testimony about her combination of Kelly's program and how it totally transformed her body after a personal injury. So, we will also talk today about what you can do for optimal fitness and health regarding exercise, nutrition, and finding balance as a working mom, including sleep. So important. Planning ahead and scheduling. So, I want to thank Kelly and Angela Forth so much. Thank you, ladies, for being here today.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to be here. Good to see you both.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you for having
absolutely.
us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Now, before we get started, I wanted to ask you, ladies, can you tell us where we can find you online? Because both of you are findable online.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely you can find me at soulstrengthfit.com. Head to soulstrengthfit.com. We have a freebie section. You can find a free 56-day plan that will really kind of guide you through really the ultimate change just from the inside out. So head to, as well as recipes and meal plans, etc. And Angela, how about you?
Yeah, so you can find me on my website, www.move-forth.com, and there you will find some resources that I love, products that I use each day for my health, and also a podcast that I record daily on reading the Bible in a year. So you'll find all of that there. And you can probably link up with me best on Instagram if I'm on social media. I kind of have a love-hate with social media, but that is Angela Grace Forth. You can find me there as well. So.
Oh, thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. Read the Bible in 1 year. I love that. I'm going to check it out.
Thank you.
For sure, for sure. So I'm going to actually just give the floor to Kelly, let her lead and guide today's conversation as we learn from Angela, learn from Kelly. Thank you, ladies, again, and go forth, Kelly.
Okay, absolutely. Well, it is just such a pleasure to be here today with Angela because, it's not often I get to know members very well. And what's really amazing about Angela is she has such a knowledge base as it is regarding nutrition and health that really, even when she did come to me, it was kind of just fun to meet with her and work with her because we kind of came together just like equals, like, hey, just kind of bouncing ideas off one another to really troubleshoot. And I just feel like Angela started out her journey just where so many people are. I have 15 pounds I would love to get rid of. Just like, I just know I would feel better. I am not at exactly my goal. I want to improve myself, and it's close. I know I can get there, but for some reason I'm just stuck. And sometimes those 15 pounds, whether it's the last or the first, tend to be like the hardest. So Angela and I connected. She is a member in Soul Strength Fit, which provides the workouts and the devotionals, etc. But then we kind of connected to work together on a one-on-one personal basis. So I'd love to just like take a moment to begin by letting Angela kind of share just her starting point and her starting, like where she is, kind of what prompted her to reach out to me, kind of go from there. So maybe Angela, you just want to tell the listeners like your starting point and where you were and how this kind of began.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate that. I found you, Kelly, I think it was through a post on Instagram, I think back in 2022 when you were holding up a poster board like for Christian women. And I was like, ooh, I like what she's doing there because I communicate sometimes with poster boards. And so then I started doing your workouts because I wanted to build some muscle and get stronger in my 40s, because it's important, for us to really, strength train as far as balancing our hormones and things like that, and our bone health as well. And so started with that, and then had an injury in August of 2023, a knee injury, and so it really took me out. Like, I knew that it would be at least 12 weeks, but that turned into, honestly, like 6 months. So it was tough. And so it was definitely a battle. It was also a spiritual battle. I know that I did go through some depression because of it, because I'm so used to, being active and moving, and it just, I didn't really change much about what I was eating. I was always eating, things that I knew that wouldn't be, quote unquote, an issue, right? I eat healthy, but it just still was, the weight was just still coming on. And sometimes, that can be, it can be because of what we're thinking about, or what our emotions are doing, or, if we're not seeking the Lord, right? It can be a lot of things. And so I was just in a bad way. I was just like, oh my goodness, I have 15 pounds. I've done keto. I've done carnivore. I've done vegan. I've done all of the things. But I kind of just didn't know at that point, like, where to even start. So that's why, I was like, Kelly, I need your help. I've been doing your workouts. I love your workouts, but I need you to help me, to talk to me about, what I can tweak, like what I can apply that I haven't yet. And so that was where, it all began, and I learned so much.
Yeah.
Just some things that I needed to change.
And it kind of highlights like the information overload that I feel like a lot of people can deal with nowadays. Because she mentioned keto, carnivore, vegan. I mean, take a look at those 3 eating patterns as it is alone, and it's like, it can be overwhelming and confusing for so many people. And that was one of the things that was interesting, working with Angela, is just like, sometimes it's just that outside perspective. Sometimes it's like, yeah, she has so much knowledge, and it said, but sometimes it's like someone else looking in and saying like, hey, here's a couple, why don't we try this or this, because just someone else kind of stepping in to come along. But to really think of how many people can feel overwhelmed with, like, carbs alone. Should I be eating carbs? Should I not? Should I be eating vegan? Should I be eating gluten-free? Should I be eating, and so then with so much conflicting information out there, it can really get people stuck, because it's like, I don't know which way to turn. And then what I see end up happening for a lot of people is they try something and they're like, well, that didn't work. But it's like 2 weeks later, well, guess what? Nothing in 2 weeks is necessarily going to work, So I tried this, it didn't work. I tried that, it didn't work. I tried, and then they end up, making zero progress. And not that was necessarily the case with Angela, but just to really highlight that, what she was saying, what she was bringing to the table, I feel is so common for so many people. Like, I've tried all the things, like she said, like the things that are out there. Yeah, so we did begin by looking at her nutrition, because I knew that, okay, we got weight training covered. I knew she's in my program doing my workouts 3 days a week. She's very diligent with that. We didn't look at her exercise just yet. We did get there eventually, but we started out by looking at her nutrition. So, I guess, Angela, why don't we talk about like the first things that we did, because, I'd kind of bucket the nutrition into a couple of things. We looked at calories, we looked at macros, and then like food timing, right? And I don't know if that was the order we went in, if it was calories or macros first, but why don't we just start with like calories? And how did you start adjusting how did you start? Now, this is how I've been eating. I've been stuck for quite some time. I have 15 pounds to lose. So what was the first step you took in regards to just like calories?
Yeah, so I actually never counted calories before. And so I told Kelly that. I was like, I I never counted calories because it feels, in my mind, it feels restricting, right? And so I was like, no, I have to look at this a different way. Let me see what I can learn about this, because if I don't know what I'm actually putting into my body, the amount, right? Because I knew I was eating healthy foods, or quote unquote, right? But I was eating too much of those healthy foods. So it was really eye-opening to me. So she introduced me to an app, MyNet Diary, and I think it's a wonderful app that you can really use as an awesome tool. Once you get all your settings in, maybe you can have Kelly help me to be like, okay, what settings do I want? Like what percentage of protein, fat, and carbs for each day. And, you put your goal weight in there, and then it just literally helps you to stay on track each day and actually see, what is in a teaspoon of olive oil, for example. Like I had no clue. I didn't have a clue, but olive oil is wonderful for us. But that doesn't mean that we should be, having like half a cup.
Guzzling it.
Yeah. If you want to lose weight, right? Like
right.
So you have to modify. You have to modify your calories. I mean, it's just the truth. If you want to lose weight, you have to be very thoughtful. And one of those things was with my coffee in the morning, because I love my cream, I love my collagen powder, I love all my things in my coffee. Okay. And I was like, Kelly, I don't know if I can do this. But her recipe for your like, what is it? Your latte, but what do you call it?
My latte. I think I call it my 30-calorie latte.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I mean, you have to be like, you know what? This is intentional. This is a good choice for me right now, because it's going to get me to where I would like to be. And it's just trusting in that process. And, with each meal, like once okay, 4 ounces of protein. This was me. So it was 4 ounces of protein, 2 cups of vegetables, whatever that is. If that's cooked vegetables, if that's a salad. And then just really modifying like the amount of oils that you're using, in your dressings, like half a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, and just still eating those things, but eating less of them, so that you can achieve your goal, and using it as a tool, not as a restriction. You have to use it as a tool. And when you can be like, this is here to help me, then you can really bust through any type of, negative thoughts about it, or I'm dieting now. Those things we need to give those to the Lord. We need to just be like, take this from me. I want to feel better. I know you want me to feel better, Father, and this is how I can do that. So
yeah.
Amen.
I love how she described it as a tool, because that's exactly what it is, and now for me, like maintaining my weight and watching that balance, and again, we're talking like women over 40, over 45, and it's like, I know I need to be diligent, because metabolism might be changing with age and things like this.
Right.
And so I do want to watch it, and I do use it as a tool. And for a lot of things, it's calories. I definitely use it as a tool to budget and manage my calories. But then it's a very diligent way to be able to, or easy way to be able to see how much protein did I get today?
Yeah.
How much is my fiber? Wow, am I way over on sodium? That's probably why I feel a little bit heavy these past couple of days. Like, look at that amount of sodium I just had. There's other, there's things that you can look at that really give you information. If you know how to budget your finances, right? This is like kind of helping you learn how to budget your health. Like I'm budgeting, and that's what it is. I'm budgeting my calories. I'm budgeting, and so a lot of times what I'll do as I use this again as a maintenance tool is I'll kind of plan my dinner first. I like that to be my bigger, that's usually I'm with my family. That tends to be the time that I take in more calories. It's a very relaxed time of day for me. So I budget around my dinner, and I will plug that into my food diary. And then it's kind of like, okay, this is the dinner I know I'm having. Or maybe it's a weekend night and I know I'm going to have a glass of wine or two with my husband.
Hmm.
I budget accordingly, and I make sure that everything else I'm eating that day is spot on. And probably I'm focusing on upping my protein because now some of my calories aren't getting, the protein requirements that I otherwise would have had, on a night that I might have wine. And again, now I'm learning how to budget my calories. I'm learning how to budget my macros. And it's just a very wise, easy approach to health. We have so many tools and resources that make it easy. Scan a barcode, or you save your favorite meals, or you enter a recipe. And, a lot of times what happens is many of us are creatures of habits. I know for myself particularly, my breakfast and lunch over the course of a week tends to be pretty much the same. Not a huge amount of variety. I'm an on-the-go kind of a person for sure. And I know, like, okay, there's a handful of things I'm choosing from. I'm not getting super creative, whipping up a new recipe every, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning.
Right.
But it's like now I have all these things saved in my thing, and I can real quick add it in, and it's just like popping it in place, and you can take a quick look at your numbers and how am I doing? Much more effective tool than just stepping on the scale once a week and like, oh, I wonder if I've been overeating this week or not.
Right.
Much more effective approach.
I love that. So, and you mentioned, Angela, being intentional. So I love that. So both of you, Kelly, you were able to help her get on a plan for success.
Yeah.
That is excellent. Would you say that plan differs for women, for people that you work with, or?
To an extent. Now, like Angela had said, she, had a background definitely with keto and carnivore. And I understand I've done a lot of also reading, research, I feel like there's also personal trial and error. And, I've tried out keto on my own body to kind of see. And what I noticed with Angela right away was like she was getting too many of her calories from fat sources. Now, I'm not saying fat is bad. I am a proponent. We all need a good amount of healthy fat in our lives and in our diet. And there's a lot of health benefits in your body to that. But it was making her calories too high. And so we pulled that back by still keeping her percentages where they should be. And I knew messing with someone's morning coffee can be a tough thing. And I tried to do that as gracefully and as kindly as I could by introducing her to a new lighter way to approach that, morning latte. But, the thing that I would say is going to be the same for everybody is you need to hit your protein goals. And when you're going to look at your macros, you're going to look at protein first. And then now that protein number, of course, is going to vary from person to person based on size and weight, activity level, etc. But hitting those protein goals is going to be one of your number one priorities. If weight loss is a goal, you're going to need a deficit. So these are things that are going to stay the same from person to person. It's just what those numbers are vary. And then also, how do you approach that deficit? Angela and I worked, we'll get to this in a minute, but we worked a little bit about like up and down. And I feel like that can be more successful. People will get into a plateau or a rut if they're, okay, every single day I try to be at 1,500 calories. And what she started working on is she had some lower days, some higher days, some lower days and higher days. And overall that calorie deficit was there, like definitely there. But that also helped her to continue on to her goal without those toes. So then that was led to the next thing, which was your macros. And I mean, like we said, protein. I mean, do you remember offhand your protein goals?
I think it was like, was it around 120?
Yeah,
grams a day, something like that. At least to get 120. And so, as long as I was doing that, I mean, I really, it was so funny is that I actually was eating more often doing this than not, because like I would not be hungry. I found that at the beginning of the day. And, that can suggest something along with our hormones, like something, it's God trying to say, hey, something isn't right. If you're not hungry, right? When you get up, a little bit after you get up, hey, let's look at that. And so like I wasn't hungry, so I wasn't really eating, but when I would eat, it would be, meat or dairy, all good sorts, farm raised products, but it just wasn't what I needed to be eating at that time. So by spreading protein out throughout the day through basically, every time you eat. So if breakfast, I have the protein, a snack in the morning, protein is with it, lunch, protein, snack in the afternoon, protein, and dinner. So it was just like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm getting this, great animal protein source at each time I eat. And I probably like for the first week experienced like some blood sugar, what have you, but everything really kind of balanced out pretty quickly after that. So, that can also be a deterrent, I think, for people if they're just not feeling well, like immediately, it can be discouraging. And so I just want to encourage people that, if this is you, it could take like up to 2 weeks for it to kind of, level out, for you to feel satisfied. And that goes too, with spiritual growth. Yes, we receive Jesus in our hearts, like when we are born again, but there is a time, there is a time and space where God has to mature us in order to, for us to show forth Jesus through us. So there's that time of, okay, I know I'm not, where I want to be spiritually or where I want to be physically, but this is a part of that process. And so it's important to just, and Kelly was great about that, just to kind of be like, okay, you could feel a little weird, it might feel a little off, but then it will balance. And, so protein is huge. I definitely didn't know that. I definitely did not, you focus on keto, you focus on fat, which again, fat is great. And I think for a short-term thing, I think keto is wonderful and serves people. But I think long-term, it's really hard to maintain. And with metabolism that changes as we get older and hormonal shifts, due to stress or lack of sleep or, just life in general, I think that focusing on protein is the most important. And Kelly really helped me to learn that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Liz, I know you and I have said in a previous podcast that you consider your muscle your body armor. In order for you to have that body armor and then also and keep a metabolism as you age, right? So women over 40, like it is so crucial if you want to have a metabolism that continues to not just dip and drop and drop and drop.
Yes.
So that like you are able to burn fat and you're able to change your body, then you need to focus on weight training and the protein intake. And notice how when she mentioned her protein, she's talking animal products.
Right.
Best sources of protein for your body.
Yep.
God gave us these these are God-given protein sources that are truly best for what your body needs. And when you can develop some muscle on your body, that's how you are going to increase your metabolism. And that's when you really get that ball rolling. So that's, another thing, she did a really great job. What are her snacks? They're protein-based, often meat-based. Every meal was centered around protein and animal sources of protein. So that was, really like such a big part of her success.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Kelly. I learned so much from you about protein in the muscle, especially our last discussion, because you are right, ladies, it's not discussed enough. A lot of us are going through thinking we're supposed to just do cardio.
Right.
And we were talking last time how you know, those of us who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, it was cardio, cardio, cardio. And
Right. So we got to stop thinking about losing weight,
right.
thinking about putting on muscle, because
Yes.
that's how you're going to lose weight,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if you're over 40. So if you
Yeah.
want to lose weight, stop saying, I'm trying to lose weight, and start saying, I'm trying to build muscle. You know,
Yes.
that's what is going to burn the fat and reshape your body.
Mhm.
And if you're just focused on
I like build your body armor. Build your body
yes,
armor. I like
Yes. Don't you love that?
I do
Yeah.
kind of think it's like an armadillo or something in my head, but yes, body armor. Yes, absolutely. So, you know, and then I guess we should talk about the last big bucket of the nutrition that we really hit with Angela, and that was food timing and working in intermittent fasting.
Yep.
So, Liz, on our last podcast, I know we talked a lot about fasting,
Yes.
but you know, we really did apply that to Angela, and she found great success by implementing intermittent fasting. It wasn't every day. So maybe Angela, you want to kind of tell about the way that you implemented intermittent fasting.
Yeah. So usually it would be on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I do my workouts with Kelly on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's usually my schedule. And so Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, I try to walk a few miles each day.
Mhm.
And so it would be those days that I would do my fasting. And sometimes I would fast. Most of the time, I would fast in the mornings. And sometimes I would even fast in the evenings because if we had like a baseball game or something like that, I would just skip dinner. So like there are ways that you can, you know, work this in. And I think that's really important for us to know too, because, you know, sometimes the word fasting can be stressful, right, on us. And it can be that restriction word again.
Mhm. Yeah.
But again, it's a tool. You know, it's talked about in the Bible so that we can, you know, feast on God's word, right? So it's like when you can put it in the right perspective, your stomach growling it's just a symptom, you know, at that point. And so I think that moving forward, because I do homeschool my kids, I found that if I would skip breakfast, I might get a little cranky. So I think like moving forward, I would skip dinner instead of instead of breakfast, because
Yeah.
you know our digestive system kind of shuts down the later the day gets, and so it makes kind
Yeah.
of sense to kind of be like, you know what, I'll just stop eating at this time of day and just go to bed and wake up, you know, feeling refreshed. But yes, I would do that in the mornings. Um, and you know, and sometimes I do it in the evenings. So either way, I think that it can be a very great tool, especially if you're using it with the app. Like you can actually see it, and you can just, you know, you can just kind of see the statistics and the success that you're having because you know, it's logged for you. It's just a way to just be like, wow, okay, that's good. Okay, I did it. That's great. I don't have to worry about anything else for today. I'm all set. My body is fine. It's going to do exactly what it needs to do. And, you know,
Yeah.
but you have to have, you have to have a certain mindset about it. You can't go in being like, I can never eat again. No, that's not it.
Right.
It's just, I'm going to insert this tool right here, right now, just for this time period. And it's going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
So.
And, you know, and just as a reminder, like we talked about last time, Liz, we're not talking about a 24-hour fast. I didn't have her fast an entire day.
Right.
Fasting can be a shorter period of time, and you can implement intermittent fasting, and you can still get spiritual benefit, and you can still get physical benefit. So if you are normally finishing your dinner at 7 p.m. and you're starting to eat your breakfast by 7:30 a.m., and we talk about just boosting that eating window. So rather than 7:30, you're going to go till 10. And then after 10, you're going to try 11 or 12. Boost that window of time. And now you've created an intermittent fasting schedule for yourself. So it doesn't have to be super scary and super overwhelming. And I understand that when you first start fasting, you're like, wow, am I going to pass out? Am I going to And guess what? You will be. But like, let yourself do it maybe hour by hour. The very first time you try it, just move your eating window back by 1 hour. And then the next time you try it, try 2. And then you're going to actually realize you have been given a God-given strong body that is actually made for fast. When you fast.
Yes.
So of course, someone might have any kind of physical issue that they need to check with their doctor, etc. But otherwise, typically speaking, we can handle it. Our bodies can handle it. And what it builds in your character, and it is so worth, like she said, when your stomach grumbles, because to learn, dealing with hunger is like dealing with any other emotion. I can't control that. I'm angry. I'm irritable. I'm this. I'm that. I can bring these emotions in check, right? I can take a deep breath and I can say, right now I'm feeling angry, but I'm still going to respond X, Y, and Z. Right now I'm feeling super impatient and irritable, but I'm still going to respond X, Y, and Z. Right now I'm feeling hungry, but I've dedicated this time of fasting to the Lord, and I know this is the commitment I'm making to myself. So I'm going to give it 2 more hours before I eat. And you learn that it's like, hunger is just like any other emotion, generally, negative emotion. It's like any other emotion you might feel, that you can still say, I can acknowledge this emotion and still make a decision based on my bigger goals, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so worth it, isn't it?
It is. I do believe, that if we could pursue nothing else, right? If you could pursue one character trait, pursue self-discipline. Because if you want to grow in love, you come across someone who's unloving, you utilize self-discipline. You want to grow in patience in your mom toddler, guess how much you need? Self-discipline. You want to grow in any other character trait, I guarantee having self-discipline is going to help with that character growth as well. And fasting is a very powerful and effective tool to quickly grow in the fruit of self-discipline.
Oh, so true.
Absolutely guarantee it.
I love what you just said too, Kelly, because you are so right about that. If you strengthen that self-discipline, it does flow into so many other areas of your life, making it stronger. You are so right about that. And I'm sure all of us have personal testimonies about that particular discipline of fasting, the power that comes through fasting.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh gosh.
So let's see, Angela, I guess we've kind of talked about nutrition. We pretty much covered everything, all the changes you made. You locked your calories in place. She prioritized meeting her protein goals, and then the other macros fell in place, right? Which, was kind of balance between the carbs and the fat. She implemented the intermittent fasting. And that's kind of how I mentioned how she did that kind of roller coaster effect with her calories. On her fasting days, her calories were low. They dropped a bit lower because she didn't eat a whole lot extra on those days to make up for the fact. Just naturally, she listened to her body, and then by getting in all that protein and the healthy sources of fat, it just naturally those 2 days her calories came down lower. But she was still hitting her goal calories with that deficit on her other days. So now she was like definitely in a deficit with this roller coaster effect, which really kept her from plateauing. So the next thing we looked at was her exercise, which, okay, so like she said, she already knew strength training, women over 40, super important. Be wise about your body, and the number one thing you can do that is being wise about your physical health, strength is weight training as your number one priority for exercise. So she was weight training. I would say we had one major tweak for your, maybe 2, but we definitely had one major tweak for you. So maybe you want to just explain what your workouts were like.
Sure. So I have always been, very athletic. I played volleyball for over 20 years, and
Oh, wow.
I just have always been, I've just been blessed and have been strong in my life.
Mhm.
Okay, and so like I've never really thought about, how much weight I'm supposed to be using. Okay, so I was just doing like light weights, like I think I was doing like maybe 3 pounds or something like that. And
Yeah.
Kelly was like, let's go ahead and bump that up. I was like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went ahead and bumped up to 8 and 10 pounds. And so that really that was a really significant change. And I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to do it like with my knee, but I just kind of, I was just like, you know what, we're just going to give it a try. I started with the 8 pounds like regularly, and then I moved up to the 10, and I'll probably be moving up to 12 pretty soon. So, I just need to order them. I just need to get them.
Yeah.
But you can, it's neat because like you can tell like when you need to add more.
Mhm.
And she told me that, I would know like, okay, like this is when you need to go up or, whatever. And on certain, exercises like lat raises, to do lighter weights, which she tells you in her videos and workouts. She says,
Right.
if you have lighter weights, go ahead and do that, because you don't want to get a shoulder injury. Um,
Exactly.
But for, certain things like any chest raises, right? Am I saying that? Am I saying
Right.
that
Yeah.
right?
Chest press.
You need to be doing at least like over 10 and goal like up to 15, right? Because that we need to really, be using our muscles so that they can help us to burn fat, to stay strong, to prevent further injury, or if we do
True.
become injured, like I did, dusting a shelf in my house.
Yeah.
Anyway, that we can recover more quickly. So
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think women think like, okay, weight training. But Liz, I was telling you of that experience I had with the one woman and at the gym, and she's using her 3 pounders, and she's telling me, I'm afraid I'm going to bulk,
Yeah.
so I won't go over 3 pounds. And I'm like, guess what? You're burning a few great calories, but you are not building your muscle. You putting on muscle takes work. And here's the thing, you break down your muscle to rebuild it, right? And you've got to tax muscles enough in order to break them down to rebuild them. And that's where the change is going to happen. I work with the women I work with one-on-one as a personal trainer. We're
Right.
talking, most of my clients are over 75, and we're up to 25 pounds on certain exercises, because you get to the point that, yes, your body actually needs that. If I use only 3 pounds with them forever, they're not going to, not only are they not going to make progress, but now they're also not going to maintain, because over time with age, if I'm not taxing their muscles enough, their muscles aren't going to continue to develop. So
Okay.
3 pounds is great if you're overcoming an injury, to just keep the muscles a little stimulated, right? So that they don't completely atrophy.
Yeah.
But if you want to actually build muscle, you are not doing that with 3, and to be honest, 5 pounds, really.
Right.
Now, like she said, there are some exercises that, require little weights. And it's kind of a joke sometimes in my videos or when I work with clients and I say, okay, get the light dumbbells. Oh, that's going to be a hard exercise. And that's why, because if we're using light dumbbells, what I'm about to give you is a very difficult exercise to maneuver, and you can't do it with heavy dumbbells. But otherwise, there are a lot of exercises. You have a lot of big muscle groups in your body, like she said, your chest, your back, your legs, your glutes. And in order to really tax those muscles, break them down to build them back up, you need to give them enough resistance, and use heavy enough weights. You're going to burn more calories in your workout. You're going to develop more muscle, which is going to improve your metabolism in the long run. So not only are you getting a better workout in the time being, you're doing better for yourself after that afterburn, the metabolism that you're helping support. So that was a huge change. It was a while into working, we only saw each other so long, but I remember the first when I asked you, how much weights are you using? And when you told me what you're using, I was like, oh my goodness, I should have asked this a while ago. But okay, we are making this change now. So
Yeah, it's totally fine. It was perfect timing. It really was, because because like when you want to, if losing weight is your goal, you have to change a lot of things. I mean, that is the facts. Like, we can try to say that they're not, but you're changing so many things, and it can be overwhelming, just like all of the what am I supposed to eat information out there, right? And so I think it was actually perfect timing for when that was implemented, to do the weights. And just like calorie counting or fasting or food choices or whatever that may be, weight training can be challenging too. I mean, and it can be like, oh my gosh, like, do I really want to do this today? Right. And, but again, the mindset is, I am building my armor, right? And this is what I have to do. And Kelly, your videos are awesome, because like, we get to go like all around to these beautiful places. And I mean, it's just, I love it. It's just very structured. It's like, this is what we're going to do. Devotions are included. I mean, it's like, why wouldn't we do that? I mean, like, why wouldn't we just do that? Like, for 30 minutes, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
it's the commitment. It's
and it's like, you can do it at home. Like, you can do it in your home. And that's how accessible and easy you make it for us. It's kind of like, it's a no-brainer. Like, let's go. Like, we can do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Really?
Yeah. No.
It's so important in terms of longevity, because I know you must, Angela, have had a total transformation in your life from doing Kelly's program. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I can only imagine, I can't wait till we talk about that, what you've seen in your life since you've made these changes. I know for me, Kelly, if it hadn't been for you, I would not have known about the weight. Because guess what, Angela, you beat me with the 3 pounds. Because guess what I was doing, ma'am? I was doing 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I thought I was going places there, but no.
Going places. I love it. Okay.
Well, we didn't want to bulk up, right, Liz? We didn't want to bulk up. Like, my mom is always like, I don't want you to get too bulky, so it's probably my mom's voice, in my head.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
I don't know. Well, so you think it was your mom? I don't know where I learned that concept either, but it was this thing in my mind that said, well, if I do big weights, then I'll just get bulky. So I know just what you mean. I have the same mindset. So. Yeah. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah. Guess what? If you do big weights, and now you're burning more calories in your workout, and now you've developed some muscle, and now you've improved your metabolism, and if your eating is spot on, 100% guarantee you're not going to bulk. When you're going to bulk is when you lift big weights and you eat big, calories, big food,
Got it.
That's how, that's how you can bulk, and it takes, it, otherwise for females particularly, it takes, it's difficult. But I think people overestimate like how, it's so easy to put on muscle, I'm going to bulk. Well, no, actually, let's talk about what that bulking is. That bulking is coming from your calorie consumption, not like this amazing weight training
Got it.
that you're taking on. Okay. Like, let's be real about what the bulking is. It's not from your gym sessions.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Like, it's, so if we could get both of those things in place, so, we just kind of joked, I wish I had asked earlier about your weights, but, to kind of what Angela's answer was, and to her point, like, it is sometimes very good, nail one thing down and then get to the next. So if nutrition is your stronghold right now, maybe you need to nail that down. And once you really get a ball rolling, you're going to feel pumped and you're ready. Now what's next? I'm ready to like take on that strength training. I'm ready to really change my body. So, maybe you need to take it one step at a time to avoid overwhelm. Everyone's a bit different. Some people are just like, I need it all right now, but other people are like, that's going to shut me down. I'm going to be like a deer in headlights and I can't go anywhere, like information overload. So maybe take it one step at a time. If you take it one step at a time, start with nutrition.
Okay.
Start with nutrition, but then don't stop with nutrition.
Yes.
Start with nutrition. And now let's get into the exercise because you need both. You need both. So she tackled both, and what's great, she's mentioned she's a homeschooling mom. She's really worked with finding that balance of like, okay, feeding the family, but meeting my own goals, taking the family on a trip to Disney for I forget how long you went for, she really did a good job as well, like at finding that balance. And it can be hard to do. So maybe we could talk about that a little bit. And like maybe just kind of starting with the in and out of like the rhythm of your days and how you kind of set up your rhythm, because finding a good rhythm is super important. And you have a pretty unique rhythm, I think, for, maybe for some of our listeners. So maybe you want to tell us about that a bit.
Sure. So I, for years, have loved to get up with the sunrise. And when I was injured, I found, in the wintertime, I just really wasn't getting up. And I knew that my sleep was like way off. I was having a hard time falling asleep and, just not really feeling refreshed in the morning and ready to go. And so that was one of my plans as well. Like when I called Kelly, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start getting up with the sunrise again. And so I cannot honestly recommend this enough. It is such a beautiful way to start your day. I think God made us to start in the beauty of the sunrise. The light is just so peaceful at that time of day. It's when no one else is awake in my house. I can just kind of be outside in the morning time. So that was definitely a part of this whole journey as well. And so then I would, at about half an hour or so after I'm awake, I have a nice breakfast, a nice satisfying breakfast, of course, with the protein and other vegetables, usually eggs and meat and veggies, and it's just wonderful. And then I'll have like a mid-morning snack and lunch, an afternoon snack, dinner. And if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to be doing my weight training, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to be doing my walking. And let's see. And so another thing is that I watch the sunset every night as well. And so it's such a lovely way to end your day if it's possible. We can enjoy God's creation again, like at the time of day, just to reflect and thank God for the day that we've had. And so just really being intentional about that. And it also helps to get the melatonin working in our bodies too, so that we can get restful sleep. So that really is such a quick and easy way to get your sleep rhythm back in balance is sunrise and sunset. So that was a huge part, and so helpful to kind of just getting my sleep back in order. And to get on a good schedule so that I could plan and that I could, implement something. And let's see, with traveling, we did have a trip to Disney World planned, and I was like, oh gosh, okay, so there's not many great options when you think of Disney World, like what you're going to eat, right?
True.
Healthy. Yeah, there's some good options. They're just not.
Right. So I was like, okay. So basically, Kelly, she loves the paleo lifestyle or Whole30. Can be kind of interchangeable. They're a little bit different, but if you can stay in that window, like if you go to a restaurant and you're like, okay, like for lunch, I had a sirloin and I had like a side of vegetables without any seasoning on it. I was like, if I could just, have that, because again, I used to run restaurants and I don't know like what oils they use. So, I'm just like, okay, just leave them as they are, just steam. That's great. So you can, work with places. They expect it now. I mean, because of all the rules and regulations that we've placed on foods with all the information out there. So they expect, people to modify things. So don't be afraid to ask for what you need. So I just want to encourage, your listeners here, like, just go ahead and ask. Go ahead and ask for it, because they can do it for you. They can. If they have it in their kitchen, they can do it. And so the times that we were out, that's just what I did. I just stayed in the, in the window of paleo. And I also, it's kind of like you're camping, right? I mean, you just pack things in your backpack. Your beef jerky, your turkey jerky, your seaweed snacks, and you're just like, I'm going to be fine because I have something in my bag that if I get hungry, I can eat it, I also took like dried coconut. I love dried coconut for a snack, or pumpkin seeds. And you just take an apple, of course. You just take it with you, and it's like not a big deal. Another thing that I want to just encourage too, because this can be a little bit challenging, especially for us if we're moms, is let it be okay if you eat something different than your family at dinner. Okay?
So true.
It feels really weird, okay? But you are modeling to your children, how to use food as something really good and nourishing and helpful to our bodies, even though it's not something that they necessarily would choose to eat all the time, okay?
Right.
So just know that what you're doing is you are showing them, how to use food in a way that is in a positive way, in an intentional way. And then as they get older, if you have younger kids, as they get older, they're going to want to know what you did or what you were doing or what you're doing, right? Because eventually they're going to get to a place where they're going to need to know what to do.
So true.
And
You're
so,
teaching them, yeah.
And so if we're doing that, then just do it. And any guilt that you might feel, give it to the Lord, because it can bog us down as well. Just say, no, I'm doing this right now. And we will eventually get back in flow, as a family, eating together. But I just want to encourage your listeners with that as well, because that can be challenging if we allow it to be.
Yeah. We talked about that. And I feel like I prioritize, it's the time shared with your family and with your loved ones. Now, Angela and I have talked about this for sure, because guess what? Your 12-year-old, how old are your two?
They are 10 and 8.
10 and 8. Okay. So she's got 10 and 8. I have 17 and 15 and 11.
I have 10 and 11. So
they're all in the same.
All the same.
So, guess what? These active kids, their body's needs are different than yours.
Exactly.
At 45 plus, I'm just saying. They need different things. Their body can handle different things. Their goals are different. Their goals right now are to grow. Right? They have like growth hormones surging through their body that like you could only wish you still had right now. Right? Like, our hormones change, and that's one of the hormones that completely changes, growth hormone, and they have different needs than you do. And Angela and I were kind of commenting the other day, like they've been outside playing ball for the last 2 hours. They can come in and have a plate of lasagna.
Right.
Okay. But if your weight loss goal is 15 pounds in 60 days, a plate of lasagna is not your ideal dinner choice.
No.
So it's okay to say like, hey, I made lasagna for dinner. I'm choosing to have salad. Would you like some salad? You don't. That's okay. I'm having salad tonight. Let's sit down. This is going to be great. And that's fine. And then what? It might be, what? You're not eating what we're eating at first. I've been doing that for so long that it's like it's a family joke. Oh, of course mom's having salad.
Yeah.
And And I also have different dietary restrictions. For example, I'm gluten-free. Not all of my girls are gluten-free.
That's
And so
right.
there are certain things that it's like, oh, that doesn't work super well for me. And that's okay. And that's okay, because the point of sharing a meal with someone isn't that we're eating the same food. It's that we're sharing the conversation and the community. And so moms, give yourself the freedom and the ability to choose to eat a meal that's right for you and your body, even if that isn't the same meal as what your kids are eating. And that's okay.
And if I can close with this, our families love us. They're going to support us. At the end of the day, we're doing what we need to do in order to be there for them in the way that they need us. And so I think all of us are at a place with our families that they will be supportive. They will love us. They will encourage us through this whole process. And because they want us around, we want to be around, right?
Yes. Definitely.
So, I am so appreciative of you, Kelly, of Angela. Angela, thank you for your story. What inspiration. You inspired me today.
Well,
Kelly
thanks for
inspired me. Yes. Kelly inspires me every time we talk, but you really, to hear, I see some of the clients already on the private Facebook page, but to actually meet you, Angela, thank you for your time.
Fun. Yeah.
Of course. Happy to do it.
Yes. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what God did in using Kelly to help you, to give you the wisdom that you needed to overcome not just that setback of the injury, but to be able to thrive now. And you look so vibrant, and I know you feel
I
amazing.
know. See, her skin's glowing, and
Yes.
can I point out the fact that when you get enough protein, it helps your skin and your hair and your nails as well. And I'm like, Angela glows.
You really
Very
do.
sweet.
To
Very
point
sweet.
that out real quick.
Thank you.
You really do. So, as you look beautiful, both of you ladies look fabulous.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. Well, as we're closing, I want, just in case anyone came in late, can you share with us, ladies, how to find you online again?
Okay. Angela, how about this time you start?
Okay. You can find me on my website, www.move-forth.com. You'll find my podcast that I record daily. It's called Move Forth with Grace. And you can come read the Bible with me today. You don't have to wait till January 1st. Come and start right now.
Okay. And then, the main place you find me is soulstrengthfit.com. So that's where my main program is, Soul Strength Fit. We also have some good freebies there for anyone who would just maybe take a 56-day challenge where you are just really challenging yourself to make commitments to growing physically and spiritually. I've got that in my freebie section. You can try the program out free for a week. You can find some of my videos on YouTube and my kids' videos and Instagram as well, Kelly Wenner. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to end with this scripture. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Amen.
So, amen. So this can be done. And with, Angela showed us through her life, what she did with Kelly's recommendations, that these were feasible. This was not impossible. It was enjoyable. She even added, and with Kelly, as many of you already know who've been with us, there's the devotional aspect. Angela, you incorporated the sunrise, sunset, and you're a mom who is a homeschool mom, and I've been there before too, so I know it's a lot. It's a lot. So the fact that you've been able to incorporate this and have the support of your family, have the discipline that the Lord gave you. You're just a beautiful example of what God can do. When we trust in Him, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So to our audience, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all of us just transforming our lives through good nutrition, through fitness. And thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Angela. Thank
Thank
you all. And we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.